Okay, let's do 2.3 lines. So what are we going to get into here? We're going to determine the x and y intercepts of a line. We'll calculate the slope, and then using the slope, we're going to find the slope-intercept form, point-slope form, and then we'll talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. So lines are going to be classified as rising, falling, horizontal, and vertical. And then we'll remember that slope is a rate of change. And if you have the same slope, you are parallel. Negative and reciprocal slope is perpendicular. All right, so if you want to pause and get the summary, you can do that now. We will be going through all of this in the next few slides. Okay, let's talk about x and y intercepts first. So we did this a little bit already in this chapter. Remember that to find the x-intercept, you make y equal to 0. And for the y-intercept, you make x equal to 0. So let's give this a shot. If we make x 0 on the first one, we'll have 4y equals 10. So y equals 10 over 4. Or if you reduce it, 5 over 2 is also equal to 2.5. So that's your y-intercept. And then for your x-intercept, we would make y 0. So we would have 2x equals 10 and x equals 5 for your x-intercept. All right, let's talk about the x and the y-intercepts of an equation like this. So x equals negative 2. If we think about the coordinate plane, x equals negative 2 is right here. So we're going to talk about the line that goes through that point, x equals negative 2. And no matter how high or low you go, x is still negative 2. So x equals is a vertical line. So a vertical line is going to have an x-intercept, but it will never cross the y-axis. So the x-intercept here is the same as the equation. The x-intercept is negative 2, and there is no y-intercept. All right, you give it a shot. Hopefully for A, we said that negative y equals 2, so the y-intercept is negative 2, and 3x equals 2, so the x-intercept is 2 over 3. And then for part B, the y-intercept is 5, and there is no x-intercept. So what would this look like? This is a horizontal line that goes through y equals 5. Okay, let's talk about slope. So hopefully we've done slope in Algebra 1, but as a review, slope is the rate of change of a line. We talk about rise divided by run is your slope. So your vertical change divided by your horizontal change. Your formula is subtract the y's divided by subtract the x's. And you can actually do y1 minus y2 as long as you then do x1 minus x2. And we write slope using the variable m. All right, so let's sketch a line through each pair of points. Negative 1, negative 3 would be right here. 1, comma 1 would be right here. And so it says classify the line as rising, falling, vertical, or horizontal. So we always think about this as going from left to right, just the way we read. And think about if you were having to walk either up or down this line. So this is walking uphill. So for part A, this would be rising. Let's find out its slope. We go up 1, 2, 3, 4. And we go over 2. So 4 divided by 2. We have a slope of m equals 2 for part A. For part B, we are at negative 3, comma positive 3, 3, comma 1. So from this, if you were walking from left to right, we are going downhill. So this is falling. On this one, what's your slope? We go down 2 from positive 3 down to positive 1. And we run, we go horizontally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So down 2 over 6. So we have a slope of -1 over 3. All right, how about part C? We are at -1, -2. And then we were at 3, -2. All right, so this is a horizontal line. Horizontal lines, we do not go up and down at all, so you have a rise of 0 and a run of, in this case, it doesn't actually matter, but in this case, we have a run of 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0 divided by 4, we have a slope of 0. And then last one here, D, we are at 1, -4. And we are at 1, 3. So that is a vertical line. So on this, we would have an undefined slope. The reason why it's undefined is that we have a rise of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a run of 0. You cannot divide by 0. If you divide by 0, you are undefined. All right, your turn. Give it a shot. So 2, 0, 2, 1, 5. That is falling. So from 5 down to 0, that is a rise of -5. And from 2 to 1, sorry, going backwards, from 1 to 2, that is a run of 1. So a slope of -5. Or B, -2, -3, 2, 5. So this is a rising. We go from -3 all the way up to 5, so that is a rise of 8. And we are going to go from -2 over to +2, a run of 4, so a slope of 2. And then for C, -3, -1, and -3, 4. So on this one, this is a vertical line. Vertical lines have an undefined slope. And our last one, from -1, 2 to 3, 2. This is a horizontal line. And so you have a slope of 0. Okay, so let's use what we know about slope to write some equations for lines. So slope-intercept form is written as y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, the intercept is b. So if we have something, this is called general form. We haven't really talked about that yet. But general form has all of the x's and y's on one side and the constant on the other, and there aren't any fractions, no fractions for general form. So general form is ax plus by equals c. From that, we want to go to slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept is y equals plus b. Get y all by itself. So if you have x, 3y equals 3. To get y by itself, we would subtract 2x. -3y equals -2x plus 15. And we'll divide by -3. Everything we see. So y equals negative over a negative is a positive, 2 over 3x minus 5. So what is our slope? Our slope is 2 over 3, and our intercept is -5. So to graph this, we could go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our y-intercept. And our slope is 2 over 3. That means go up 2, 1, 2, and over 3, 1, 2, 3. So there's your 2 points. Connect your intercept and the point you get by moving up and over by the slope. So go up 2 and go over 3 to go from the intercept to point number 2. And that's your line. All right, your turn. Give it a shot. All right, getting y by itself, we would have negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 12. And divide by negative 2. We'll get y equals 3 over 2x 6. And so let's go ahead and graph this. We'll go down 6. And we'll go up 3. 1, 2, 3. And we'll go to the right 2. So hopefully your graph looks like that. All right, so let's use the slope-intercept to find the equation of a line. Y equals x plus b. So on this one, we have the slope. So we can say y equals 2 over 3x because m is the slope. And the intercept, 0, 1, 0, 1. The intercept is at 1. The intercept is the y number. So 2 over 3x plus 1. Just plug it in. Your turn. Hopefully you wrote y equals negative 3 over 2 for your slope, x plus 2. Okay, point slope, really useful for finding a slope-intercept or general form. So you can say y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where y1 and x1 are an x and a y, excuse me, at some point on your graph. So if we have something like this, we have the slope, we have a point, we can say, use our form, y minus y1 equals m minus x1. Y minus, what's your y number? 2 equals your slope, negative 1 over 2. X minus, what's your x number? Negative 1. What happens when you minus a negative? You're going to add. So y minus 2 equals negative 1 plus 1. Okay? Now, from that, we're going to usually need to turn this into either slope-intercept or into general form. So for slope-intercept, we would get y by itself, y minus 2. We could say this is equal to negative 1/2 x minus a half. And then we could add 2 both sides and end up with y equals negative 1 over 2x. Dropbox is almost full. And then negative half plus 2 is positive 3 over 2. So that would be your slope-intercept form, starting with the point-slope form. Your turn. Okay, we can say y minus negative 1/2 equals m, which is 1 over 4, x minus x1. So we'd have y plus a half, 1/4 x plus, minus a fourth. And we want this in general form. So on this one, let's get your x's and y's on the same side. So we can subtract a y and subtract a y. And then add a quarter, add a quarter. So we will have a half plus a quarter is 3/4 equals 1/4 x minus y. So we don't want any fractions. Let's times this by 4 and get 3 equals x minus 4y for your general form. Okay, if you have 2 points, we can find the equation. First thing we have to do is find the slope. So m equals, subtract your y's, negative 1 minus 2, over, subtract your x's, negative 2 minus 3, negative 3 over 5. And then we're going to use our point slope, point slope, y minus, pick a y, either this one or this one. I'm going to pick the second one just because it's already positive. Y minus 2 equals m 3 over 5, right? Negative over negative is a positive. X minus the x that matched up with the 2 we already picked, so x minus 3. Okay? All right, so we can clean this up and say y minus 2 equals 3 over 5x minus 9 over 5. And it doesn't tell what to turn this into, so why don't we go ahead and do this in general form. Let's times everything by 5 to get rid of the fractions. So 5y minus 10. Sorry about that. I don't know why the computer's doing that. Equals 3x minus 9. Get x and y on the same side. And for general form, usually we want to have the x positive. We'll put the constants on the other side. Negative 1 equals 3x minus 1. Okay, your turn. So our slope would be 3 plus 4 minus a negative over negative 1 minus 2. So we would have 7 over negative 3. And so we can write y plus 4, just using this one, y minus negative 4, equals 7 over negative 3, x minus 2. All right, so we would have y plus 4 equals negative 7 over 3x plus 14 over 3. Times everything by 3, and we'll get 3y plus 12 equals a negative 7x plus 14. We'll add 7x to both sides and subtract 12, and we'll get 7x plus 3y equals 2. Okay, so find the equation of each of the following lines given their slope and a point that the line passes through. So on this one, the slope is 0. That means it must be a horizontal line. It's a horizontal line, it goes through the y-axis. The y number here is 7. So on this one, we're going to say y equals 7. For a undefined line, it must be vertical. It means it goes through the x-axis, which means we're looking at the x-axis. So one would say x equals 5. Okay, parallel lines. Here's the key thing. Slopes are equal. So are these lines equal? So to find the slope, let's get y by itself. Let's add x, add x. We have 3y equals x by 3. We have y equals 1 over 3x minus 1. The slope here is 1/3. And on this one, y is already by itself, so the slope here is 1/3. So they are indeed parallel lines, have the same slope. All right, so let's find the equation of a parallel line. Find the equation of a line that passes through this point. All right, so if we know the point, we're probably going to use y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So we have our y number, and we have our x number. But what's our slope? Well, if we're parallel to this line, then the slope must be 3. So we can plug that in. Say y minus 1 equals 3x minus 3. Let's add the 1 over. Y equals 3x minus 2. And that is in slope-intercept form. Just giving you a variety of answers so we can see slope-intercept and general form. All right, your turn. Find the answer to this in slope-intercept form. All right, so y minus 3 equals 2 for parallel to that line, x plus 1. So y minus 3 equals 2x plus 2. That's 3. Y equals 2x plus. And lastly, we'll talk about perpendicular lines. So perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. So if one slope is 1 over 5, the other is, flip that over, make it negative, negative 5. If one is 2 over 3, the other slope is negative 3 over 2. Flip and make negative. Okay, so we pass through the point 3 comma 0. So y minus 0 equals m, which we'll figure out in a second, x minus 3. We're perpendicular to this line with this slope. So let's flip that over, 1 over 3, and make it negative. So y equals negative 1 over 3, x, and then distribute negative times a negative is a positive. 3 and 3 cancel out, and we'll have the 1. Negative 1 over 3, x plus 1. Your turn. All right, y plus 5 equals positive 2, negative reciprocal of negative 1/2, x minus 1. So y plus 5 equals 2x minus 2. Y equals 2x minus 7. Subtract 5 plus 5, both sides. All right, that'll do it. We will review this in class, and we'll see you then.